2, 1. What's up and welcome back to episode 66 of Pro Pels Talk. It is the home of your 11th place, 3 games back in the Western Conference, New Orleans Pelicans. My name is Justin Napoli. Alongside Ross Thibodeau tonight, no Stephen Offner. This episode is brought to you by Boot Crew Media. Ross, how are you tonight?
I'm good. We're hanging around. We're
there. Like it's
it's ugly. We're beating a bunch of pretty average teams, and we scratched out one against the shitty Wolves yesterday.
We clawed one out.
Yesterday.
This episode is brought to you by Company Burger, located at 4600 Ferret Street, home of the Mushroom Swiss Burger. Make sure to go check them out. Let's I want to get your thought on something real quick.
Talk to me.
So we're gonna talk about the Warriors, of course, coming up. Pels are 3 games back.
Huge games.
This
is. I mean, we say this 10 times about the season. This is the season. You lose both of these, you can literally hang it up.
And I don't think you can split them either.
No, I don't think so either. You got to win both.
Let's talk about what happened last night on the Twitter sphere. So what are your thoughts on plagiarism? Say you've had 2 kids, when they came home and your little daughter plagiarized, a fifth grade English report. What would you do? What would you do?
I don't know, man. I'd be upset with her for sure. It's a cowardly thing to copy someone else's work.
Okay, let's talk about it. It's but not give them credit. It's okay.
Oh, yeah,
that's fine.
What's the difference in plagiarism and citation?
Right. So
give somebody credit for their work.
So last night, my hard work, I wrote my notes down. There was a possession in overtime. I think I noticed. Who was it? Anthony Edwards was just not guarding Eric Bledsoe in the corner. Just wasn't guarding him. I mean, there's not a clear. So I do my thing. I get, I screen recorded all that stuff, cut it up, and stop it at the exact moment Anthony Edwards is just looking at Zion driving the ball. And I just screenshot it, and I was like, Anthony Edwards doesn't care that Eric Bledsoe's on the floor, and I don't think Eric Bledsoe cares that he's on the floor. So I retweet, get my thoughts on it. I don't like Eric Bledsoe closing minutes, whatever, blah, blah. Pelicans win, come back from 10. Great. I'm fucking elated. I'm just having jacked up. We're in a playoff race. I love it. So going on my personal account, I had someone retweet something from our friend David Fisher. And, I see the retweet and scrolling. Yeah, I'm just the guy that blocked us for no good reason. So I was just scrolling through my homepage on my own personal Twitter. And I noticed a picture that looked very eerily similar to my picture. And Ross, I know you're not a big Twitter guy, but when you block somebody, right? So say me and you are friends, right? But you block Steven. And then I went and retweeted one of Steven's things. You still wouldn't be able to see that.
Right.
So there's a couple things here, right? So one.
I think I see where you're going with this.
So one, why is he on our page? Why is he so obsessed with us? That's one.
He knows that we are more creative and funnier, and giving better insight than he does. That's an easy one. What else you got?
Okay,
any more brain buster questions?
Two? So 2, how did he see that? Does he have a burner, or is he going on the Bird Rights Twitter page and looking at our shit? Because this isn't the first time he's done this. I'm just making this the first time that I'm actually going to call his ass out because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, look, that guy proved himself to be just a nobody, whatever that was, 2 or 3 weeks ago. I mean,
do you
we didn't even really call him out. All we did was correct him on one absurd stat. He blocks us, which who gives a shit? I don't care. I don't even know who the hell the guy is before, and now you're going to just continue to steal our stuff. It's do you think he wants to work for us?
I mean, he can come work for us. It's fine.
Dave, you looking for a job?
If he's looking for one, we can talk. But at the same time, tell me, why not even be able to even quote us, credit us? Because this isn't the first time.
Because he doesn't want people to know. He probably steals shit from everybody.
This all started, and that's what Schmidt.
This guy's a fraud. We knew the guy's a fraud. We knew he was a fraud 3 weeks ago. All you have to do is follow his Twitter account. He's a fraud. And the guy knows as much about basketball as my wife.
Schmidt and I have gone back and forth, but we respect each other. And even today, Schmidt came onto our page and said that dude steals shit all the time. That is Schmidt saying that. So anyway, shout out Schmidt, by the way. I appreciate that.
And honestly, he's giving the Bird Rights a bad name.
He is, because I like Ali Cosell. I even like
I
David
do
Grubb. They
too.
do work. I like them, but I can't get with this guy. Like,
He is
it's one to like.
tarnishing my reputation. The way I thought about those guys is now tarnished because they've been working with a clown like this for this long. I mean, it takes a guy a month to show he's a
So,
jackass.
so it all started. It all started with the Steven Adams. That's how it started. He came on our page and called us out.
Totally separate. I'm glad. Whatever. We can be done with that. I mean, do you want to have anything else you want to say about that guy?
Well, I was going to lead to my next point, my Willie Hernan Gomez tweet.
I'm
They're 4-1.
go for it. That's where I wanted
Okay,
to go.
so that's where it all started, and I'm glad it's going there. So he called me out saying I don't know anything about basketball, that you should stick to football, insulted us, then deleted all of his tweets. Then, this is the timeline, then calls us out without calling us out. So then I retweeted him again. He then blocked us. That's fine. So then someone said something negative about us a couple weeks ago, and he's the one that retweeted it. Yeah, so like he's starting to do that. Like he doesn't think that he's really starting a war, but he's like kind of starting a war. So then finally the last straw was last night. Like it's one thing if you want to disagree with us, that's fine. Have your own opinion. I completely listen. I'm not a big Steven Adams guy, but I will listen to your opinion on Steven Adams on if she play, if she be closing, if she get 30 minutes, whatever. But the fact that you tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about, you insult all of us, you block us, and then you still are copycatting and stealing our shit.
See, here's my problem. Here's my biggest issue, and this goes back to the bubble when we had a big thing last year with a handful of guys, where the easiest way, if you have a little bit of a following, right, and you see somebody else doing some good work, or they're starting to make a little noise, or they're whatever, right, somebody that's kind of infringing on whatever you think your space is, the easiest way on Twitter, and this is why I fucking hate Twitter, is to just downplay whatever they're saying, right? Just to kind of write it off as like, who are these guys? They don't know anything, right? You just sort of put that out there, right? So now you've got 5,000 or 10,000, however many. I truly don't give a shit about this stuff. But what it does is it puts that seed in all these people that have been following the bird rights and all this other stuff. Well, who are these guys? These guys are nobodies, whatever. All the while, this guy knows that he's outclassed. It just doesn't. It takes 2 seconds. He's just a guy that's been covering the team, right? I played college athletics, played pretty high level college athletic. Like, there's a lot of guys that cover sports for newspapers and stuff that don't know shit about shit. Okay, they shouldn't be covering my daughter's 5-year-old soccer games, but they're halfway decent writers and they get a job. Whatever, that's fine. I'm not even saying that the guy knows nothing. I'm just saying, don't be a jackass that tries to deflect attention away from somebody that's doing good work. I don't have any problem with them. Well, now I have a problem with them. I didn't have any problem with the guy before. Right. And now you're going to just because we've sort of proven you wrong and we called him out that one time and it was really obvious, it made him look bad. So then he blocks us and all. So it's like, come on. I mean, the guy's it's like a high school girl. Get over it, man. Whatever. I don't give a shit about the guy. The guy's a fucking clown. He's a clown. Let's talk Willie and Steve.
That's what I'm saying. So that's my next point is I have a tweet out now. I did my own little research. I went on google.com. It was truly amazing. But Hernan Gomez, when he starts, the Pelicans are 4-1. And when he gets 17 or more minutes in a Pelicans basketball game, the team is 16-10. He's on a 1-year, $1.7 million contract. This is what we've been talking about the whole time. And Ross, I'll let you get the floor here in a second, but Steven Adams is a good player. I have no problem with Steven Adams. I think he's a good player. I think he's a great guy. He's a great locker room guy. He's a good leader.
I said earlier in the year, of everybody on the team that I'd want to go have a beer with, he's number one. Has nothing to do with Steven Adams as a person.
Is he worth $17 million the next year? And people are going to be like, well, it doesn't matter. No, it does matter because you can have productive centers at $1.7 million. Go ahead.
Yeah. Ross. No, look, that we've beaten that horse to just like a brutal death. I just was pointing out kind of I wanted to look at the last 5 games, right? So you play Adams, starts, plays a bunch against the Spurs. We lose. We come back that next game against the Clippers when we were in the suite and we watched the whole game. Willie starts, plays great, super high energy. I mean, the first quarter, you remember the Clippers came out the first, whatever that was, 5. It felt like the first 4, 5, 6 minutes. They hit a bunch of shots. We didn't do anything. Hernan Gomez is diving on the ground, getting loose balls. From there, that kind of catapulted the rest of the game. We win. Then Adams comes back against the Nuggets. We lose. Then, Bill starts these next 2 games. Now, granted, look, it's the Thunder and the T-Wolves. I get that. I mean, I get
He
it.
lost to the Thunder earlier this year.
But anybody that's watched the team all year, the guy's been energetic and productive. I don't. We can go back to the damn podcast we did before the week before the season started when I said I really don't even know how much Jackson Hayes is going to play this year because I think this other guy's a better player. I've seen him a little bit in Charlotte, saw him a little bit before that, and wherever he was, New York or wherever it was. He's been productive. He's been energetic. He's got a little bit of offensive skill to him. I don't every
and defensively, he's better, by the way. Just on that.
He's improved. He's improved ratings, and he's active. He's active, right? And that's the whole thing is that it doesn't have anything to do with Steven Adams. Look, Steven Adams for 18 minutes a night. Hey, I'm here for it. I just don't want to pay him what we're paying him. Now we're kind of locked in. I don't want to go down that road again because like you can just we've just been down it so many times. This is more a testament to I don't know why Hernan Gomez hasn't gotten the what happened to him in Charlotte was just criminal. Like he just should have been playing more minutes. I mean, it was pathetic. He was clearly should have been playing more minutes there. Now he comes here and he's kind of scratching away, fighting for minutes, and I feel like the guy's been productive.
He's a good player.
And I mean, we're not going to be able to keep him. No way we're going to be able to keep him, but good for him. Right. I think it's just it's kind of the point that we've been trying to hammer home for 2 months now, hell, half the year, that there are productive, you don't have to overpay. You don't. Everybody thinks the only guys you have to overpay for are the restricted free agent superstars that are probably going to get a max deal anyway. But everybody thinks like, well, to get players here, you got to overpay. You just don't. You don't ever have to overpay an average player, like ever, unless you're a team that has championship aspirations and you're looking for a specific skill set, a guy that can knock down threes late in games, a guy that can defend multiple positions, all that stuff. Sure. In that situation, you're the Lakers, you're the Clippers, something like that. Go overpay a guy you think can help you win a championship this year. We're not there. We weren't there. And so I just always want to caution against it because there is that sentiment for small market teams that, well, you got to overpay. Nobody wants to come here. Blah, blah. That's bullshit. It's bullshit.
Because I'll tell you what, a lot of people want to play with Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram.
No, hell, yes.
Like, why wouldn't you? And it's just,
and this isn't that situation either. Like Hernan Gomez didn't like this is a totally separate situation. It's just we misevaluated where we were in the kind of our team trajectory. We overestimated where we were. We thought and I'm speaking for Griffin. I'm speaking for the front office here. It feels like last summer we thought we were closer than we were. Fair enough. Just don't make the same mistakes moving forward because we have whatever it is 4 or 5 years with locked in with Ingram and Zion. So just you fucked it. It's okay to say that too. Like we fucked the Bledsoe. If we could go back, I was just talking to somebody about this last night. Of everything that's happened in the last year, what's the one thing that the front office probably would go back and not do?
Drew Holiday trade.
The Drew Holiday deal.
No. I'm not saying they wouldn't trade him because obviously now
I'm not saying they wouldn't trade him, but you sure as hell wouldn't do that deal, and you wouldn't do the Bledsoe and Adams thing. And like that's a huge hindsight is 2020 thing. But what you can do is learn from it. And so my only hope is, especially as I've been saying lately, I'm just excited for the offseason. I'm excited to see sort of what we can and will do.
Yeah.
Just don't make the same mistakes because last year is last year. It's done. We can't. There's no getting out of that shit. So. We now have a better idea of what we thought we knew what Zion was. Now what he is. Yeah, he's a fucking problem.
The guy. He's
what he is.
He's a guy.
And you very much now know what Ingram is too, and you know how he wants to play and how him and Zion are going to interact and all that good stuff. 2. And so that's really all I've wanted to hammer home. It's not that I'm pessimistic about the future. It's just that let's just learn from the mistakes. And let's bring in the right type of people that can take those two superstars and just make them a little better. Let's make the team just a little better.
I'm just not okay with wasting. Like people are like, well, $17 million and he's an expiring contract. It's like, well, you're wasting money and years. Like I hate to say this, guys.
I don't give a shit about the money. I care about the years.
Yeah, Zion's not going to be here for 15 years. Okay, no. It is what it is. Like we're in a new age. Like there's no Zion is going to go to big markets and like You gotta capitalize right now. Now I understand Giannis signed that super max deal with the 5. He can still get out of Milwaukee. Like just go look at James Harden.
But it's
I'm
a
just saying
totally separate thing. You give yourself a puncher's chance of keeping those guys if you're
exactly
finishing 1, 2, 3 in the conference every year. The Bucks are
right.
championship contenders and have been.
And he
This is
wants
now
to
probably
stay
the
there.
third year in a row. Like once you
Right.
get there, you got a chance to
Right.
keep those guys. Like in the
Right.
situation that the Pelicans have been in, and even going back to the Hornets, like we haven't been in that spot. We were not a championship contender with Anthony Davis. We had no chance to
Ever.
keep him. We were
Ever.
not a championship. We were closer with Chris Paul, but we weren't a championship contender. I mean, we just weren't. We were a very good team for a few
We're a
of
good
those
team.
years, not
We
a
were
championship
Gennaro
contender.
Pargo 3 away from a Western Conference Finals. Like if
Right.
3 goes in, they
That's
win
as far as that was going to go. Right.
right. I don't. You're not going to beat the Lakers
No.
and Kobe and whatever. But no. I listen. I think, and I know me and you have gone back and forth on this in the 10 seed and whatever. Tomorrow, or I'm sorry, this. Well, I guess it's releasing today. Tomorrow and Tuesday are big deals to me as a fan and as just someone that's really interested in the team, because these two games are playoff games. Like it is you got to sweep, you got to take care of business at home. When these teams, Ingram and Zion haven't really risen to the occasion and broad. Like I can remember the Celtics, but like they flopped on like national stages this year. This is it. These two games, if you can sweep at home, you set yourself up to be a game back, and you're going to win the tiebreaker over Golden State. San Antonio has a tiebreaker over Pelicans. So these two games are huge. And you got, another game at Golden State in like a week and a half. These two games, Ross, coming up are playoff basketball games at home. I understand there's be 35, 4,000 fans there. It is what it is, but you got to bring the energy. Like Golden State is a team that doesn't want to be here. Kelly Oubre is going through injuries. Curry and Draymond are carrying that team. The rest of them are. It's a bad team. I mean, Ken Bazemore and Looney's like 3. Like he shouldn't be on the court. There's just a lot. They're just not that good. And you got to be the team that actually wants to make the playing game. Golden State's trying to get it away. Ross, what are you looking forward here in the next couple days?
Well, I think that it's simple. I'm hesitant to say something stupid like, "Oh, you gotta focus on stopping Curry. If you stop Curry, you win the game." Like, all right, yeah, which everybody wants to stop Curry, nobody stops him. But I think that's it. Like, it is sort of true for us, just because the way elite guards have just annihilated us this year, have brutalized
Eric
us this year.
Well, I mean, look at Eric Bledsoe's not a guy can
Westbrook, Lillard. I mean, they have just massacred
and
us.
Let me, before you go, it's because Eric Bledsoe's a very overrated defender, and Adams and Zion in a pick and roll, you can't switch it. You have to go and drop coverage. You have to hedge hard. You have to double. We're always at a disadvantage because Zion and Adams they can't switch because they get put on. I kind of maybe more trust Zion than Adams, but all you have to do is a simple pick and roll, and if you're gonna switch it, just space Adams out. But that's why that guards Dame Lillard, Westbrook, Beal, even Tatum, if you want to, like, he's kind of like guard forward, but still guys have absolutely torched them, and that's the reason why. I just don't think Eric Bledsoe is very good. I like Lonzo Ball. Eric Bledsoe is just a horrible on-ball defender, and then our bigs are just, they can't switch.
Right. So I mean, like, what's coming here. I mean, I don't need to say it, but
yeah,
they're going to run. I mean,
heavy dose of Steph Curry,
and you're going to get him 5,000 ball screens. You lose track of him for half a second, and he's open. Look, they haven't been playing great. They've lost to 2 of the last 3, maybe even back to back. I mean, you hit it. They're not a great team. I mean, Steph Curry is an all-timer, but I don't think, like, in the grand scheme of things, like, they're probably not any better than us this year.
No, we should be better than this team. Listen, if Steph Curry wants to go for 50,
they're a 500 ball club.
That's fine. If Steph Curry wants to go for 50 and 60, that's fine. You can't just have the Draymonds going off for 16, 18, 20 points, Andrew Wiggins dropping 20 on you. Like, Brandon Ingram defensively is going to have to step up moving forward tomorrow. Curry's going to get his. Like, just, if you're a Pelicans fan, just it is what it is. Like, don't overreact. Curry, just enjoy his greatness, because he's truly unstoppable, because he's impossible to guard in PNR, and then he's impossible to guard off ball, because he's going to run 2, 3, 4 screens, and you can't stop that as a defender. You think Eric Bledsoe, Lonzo Ball, and keep chasing him for 48 minutes? It's truly impossible to stop.
if you split, you're out. I mean, because we're still a full 3 games back, and
Yeah,
I mean,
this
this is
too.
it.
You
You
got to
got
sweep it
you
at home. You have to. Like there are no ifs, ands, and buts. Like Golden State at your house, must win
back to
game,
back nights.
back to back nights. You have to
ESPN
come
the
out
first night.
ready to go. You have to come out ready to go. Like, listen, and if they lose and they like actually, they're energetic and like grinding it out and things like shit happens. Like I understand that. But like I don't want to see us, down 15, 16 points, crawling all the way back. Like, show up. Be ready to go tomorrow. Like, for instance, they play against Minnesota. The way they play tomorrow, like they're gonna get their ass kicked because Curry might go off for 60, 70 points.
Yeah, and Golden State wants to win. I mean,
and they're a championship franchise. Like they're gonna show up. Golden State is absolutely gonna show up.
Yeah, and they didn't fight it out tooth and nail this far to they've got their eyes set on the the 7 or 8. They don't want to mess around with.
Before we get to fan questions,
with 110.
Do you think we sweep them?
No.
Do you think we get swept?
No, I think we probably just split 1-1 with them. I just don't have. I don't have a ton of faith. I've got to see us hold him under 40 twice.
If we hold Curry under 40, we win. What about 50?
I think if you can hold him under 40, you're going to win.
What about if we hold him under
40? 50? You're not going to win.
Do what? 40, if we hold him under 50, we lose.
If he scores over 40, we're going to lose.
He's in a groove, dude.
I just don't think those guys, and look, we've lost all of those games. I bring that up because we've lost them all. We were at the Portland game when, I mean, we just back and forth. The fourth quarter, it felt like, I mean, Lillard just scored 14 points in a row. It felt like it was like, game over. We got in that game against the Wizards. I mean, they both got us. Westbrook got us once, and Beal got us once. It just is. I don't know. We got to.
Donovan Mitchell's got us. Like everybody gets us. Like I think that you put Lonzo on Curry tomorrow.
I think you put Lonzo on Curry tomorrow, and it just rips him to shreds.
I think you throw Lonzo at him, you throw Najee at him, and I'd even throw Kyra a little bit at him. Like I know y'all think. I think Kyra's quickness, he's lengthy, and he fights through screens very, very well for an undersized guard. I think that can affect him, but to affect a great shooter like Curry, it's length, it's Lonzo, it's Najee, it's even Kyra as well. You can't put Eric Bledsoe on him. You just, whatever you do tomorrow, Ross, you can't do it. You just and I understand like they give you Andrew Wiggins. If Andrew Wiggins beats you, then that's fine. Like Andrew Wiggins beats us, fine.
The here's what scares me the most about having Bledsoe on. It's not so much the on-ball stuff as it is what have we criticized Bledsoe for all year. The guy's gotten backdoored.
And Curry moves
500 times this year. He just loses. He loses track. What the hell's going on? You lose track of Curry for a split second. He's on the other side of the court in the corner open. He just is nonstop moving. So I don't think Bledsoe can guard him.
We're a bad PNR team too.
We're terrible. That's the bigger issue. I really don't know that it matters who guards him, but we'll see what happens. I don't know. Throw enough bodies at him. Maybe you affect him enough. Yeah.
Let's get to fan questions. We got a lot too. I'm pretty excited about them. Kenneth James at Kenny G3430 _ Shout out
that.
Love it. Realistically, what do you think the Pels have to do to make it? Obviously 3-0 against the Warriors. I don't necessarily agree with that, but do you think they have to go 7-2 to make it? I think there's 11 games left. Ross, you want to answer that first? That's tough. I mean, it's a tough question. It really does.
I can. Well, I mean, look, we just talked about it. I mean, I don't really have much interest in looking much further. Like, you've got to win basically all these damn games. But let's just call it what it is. If you don't win these two, it's over. So I mean, if you want to keep it in the very short term, you got to win these 2 home games. And then see where you're at. Because I think if you win these 2, what you're going to see is the whole thing tighten up even more, right? You'll be if you win these next 2, then you're only a game back of the Warriors. Maybe San Antonio loses one of the next ones, then you're only a game back, I think, of them, or maybe a game and a half. So like, if you can just win these 2, it's just going to tighten up a lot more. And so you're going to give yourself a chance over that last week to, for something to happen. If you split here, or God forbid you lose both, and then it's just, it's fully over.
Yeah, if you split here, Ross, I don't necessarily think it's over. I do
You just
think
you run out of time, Justin.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the issue, right? Is that
You
you're
run out of
3
time.
back, and if you
You
split, you're
didn't gain any
still
ground and
3.
you
You
have
didn't
one
gain
game.
any ground, but you lost 2 of. You've now lost time, right? So we've played 64 games, I think. So you've got 8 left. If you don't gain any ground, then you're down to 6 left. So you're talking about making up 3 games in 6. It just is not going to happen. You're being unrealistic at that point. You got it. It has to be done, and it's got to be done now.
Okay. Shout out to our guy, Kenneth James. Appreciate the question. Love this guy, Pell Section 115. Why did the Pels miss so many free throws? I don't know. I think Zion got into I think Zion's free throws are fine, and I think Lonzo's a career high free throw percentage this year.
Yeah,
but
he's shooting like 1.4 a game or something.
Brandon's been missing a lot of late free throws. I don't know what's going on. I mean, he's an 85 plus guy. I mean, it's a tough question to answer. I mean, some days the ball goes in, some days it goes out. But appreciate the question, Pels Section 115. Hopefully, we get to meet him, after this pandemic, because I think he's got season tickets in Section 115.
Let me ask you this, Justin.
Yep.
Just going back to that last question. I mean, the Pels have played a lot of close games here this season, especially over the last few months. I mean, we've criticized them because we've lost a lot of them, games that we feel like we should have won. Do you think, I mean, even without a lot of bodies in the stands, there's still nerves there. I mean, we're missing, I find we miss a lot of those free throws. I mean, now Adams has been just god awful from the line.
Another thing about his game. I mean, it's terrible.
He's just been, he's been atrocious from the line, but Zion's around 70%, whatever. Lonzo shoots like 1 free throw a game, which is terrible. But do you think some of it has to do with just being a hair tight late in those games? Or do you just think it's, we're just not making free,
Yeah, it's hard to answer that question because you're never in the mind of the player, right? It's all about, it's really all about a mindset. You could say, oh no, I wasn't nervous at the free throw line, and you might have been shaking, left to right. But free throws is just a rhythm thing, man. That's why you just continuously work at it. But like, why I don't get is why Brandon Ingram struggles late in games, but is early on he's 85, he's elite. It could be a mind thing, could be a mindset thing. It really could. I don't know. It could go back to the same argument of why can't we close games out? I personally think it's a spacing issue, but a lot of people disagree with me, and that's fine. But I think that Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson work so hard at the end of games to get easy buckets, and it could literally also be a stamina issue as well.
That's kind of where I was going with that whole thing, is that you're in all these games and if we're getting a bucket late, it's generally BI just making something out of nothing, or Zion like thrashing through the lane. They're getting bumped, tired. You're having to get back on the other. I just think there's something to that. I won't be surprised if we get into, next year late, the more experience and the more those guys learn how to play late in games, I think you're actually going to see more of those free throws go in.
Absolutely. And I think, I completely agree. Thanks for that question. Pell Section 115. J Mac at Cajun_potato. How do you go from J Mac to, I love this guy, by the way. He's like one of our OG followers. So shout out J Mac, but Cajun_potato. That's good. Is it just me, or does it feel like there's a huge chance we get our hearts ripped out and the Pels do the lambada on top of it? Is that that's a hell of a, what is LA lambada? Is that right? Did I say that right?
I don't know what the hell you're saying.
LAMBADA lambada. Let's look that up real quick.
Well, look, I'll answer the first part of that question. Yeah, there's a damn good chance you get your. Well, if your heart is like that much in this, then yeah, you're at risk here, because it's not like we're the 8 seed fighting for, like we're the 11. Like, how much is your heart like in? I mean, yes. If you're sitting here and the next month of your life is riding on us making the playoffs, like you're in trouble. You're in trouble. I'm not saying I want to get there. Like, I want to be in the playoffs as bad as anybody else, but like, just looking at it rationally here, like we're 3 games back with 8 to play, and probably not gonna make it. I mean, I hope we make it, but probably not gonna make it.
And it's the 10 seed.
Yeah, like, we're talking about the 10 seed. We're going
for like a 5 or 4 seed.
God, people are gonna be losing their mind.
You'll love the definition of lambada. A fast. I can't even say it. Lambada. You learn something new every day. Lambada, a fast, erotic Brazilian dance that couples perform with their stomachs touching. What the fuck is that?
Check that one out.
Never even try that out, huh?
Give that a go.
Shit. Appreciate the question, J-Mac.
Lambada.
YB at Allison Y, bruh. One of our newer followers. I like interacting with them. Love Zoe's improvement from the free throw line from 40% plus to 78%. Now, as you said, I know he doesn't get a lot of free throw attempts, but hey, numbers don't lie, right?
That is true. Look,
listen, it's not bad.
No, he's improved.
He needs to get more to the line though.
It's about well, he's never shot many more than he shot this year anyway. He's been around a one free throw per game guy his whole career. But yeah, look, there's no denying. I mean, his numbers, shooting numbers, basically across the board are up. So
he just
goes to him for improving his shooting. The 3-point percentage is sort of taking a dip here probably the last month or so. To where I think maybe he's still like hair. He's basically right where he was last year. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Good for him.
I really like Lonzo.
He's clearly worked at his shooting. I mean,
yeah, he just.
I think we talked
to the game.
Yeah, he does. He's got to fill out the rest of his game. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Shout out Allison Y, bro. Mark 843 with a crescent moon emoji and palm tree emoji at 843 kid 5 _. How do you get to those numbers? I'm interested to see that. I'll let you handle this one. It's actually a good question. And I know you haven't really done much research on it, so we're going to go from the hip here. Some free agents and or trades to look at this offseason to improve the roster. Before we get into that, I think that there's a lot to improve on this roster, and it's all about shooting and combo guards, in my opinion. But go ahead, Ross. I'm interested to hear your thought on this question.
Yeah, so we talked about this one on a podcast with Elliot a couple of weeks ago, just a little bit. I mean, there's a couple of guys, I think, that should be interesting to us. It just really depends. Like, I mean, there's a million players that would improve the roster, right? So let's just start there.
Just taking off Eric Bledsoe off the game or off the roster will help you.
Yeah, you've got some addition by subtraction there. If you're looking to identify players that I think would be useful for us that may even be attainable, I think Norman Powell is a free agent. It's just all about how much space do we have and what do they cost. Like Norman Powell, I think, is a free agent. I think Tim Hardaway Jr., really good shooter, spot up guy, is a free agent. I think he might have had 40 or 50 in a game earlier this week. But guys like that, wings that can shoot and have just a little bit of off the dribble punch, I think we should be looking at basically all of them. In terms of a trade, the one guy that intrigues me incredibly, and again, he's a little overpaid, is CJ McCollum. I think CJ McCollum.
I'm interested to hear that. I've seen that name. Go ahead.
He's been sort of whispered, somebody that could be on the block. The last couple years, it seems like, and look, there's probably no question that he's a hair overpaid, but he's an elite shooter. Mm-hmm. He's got some off the dribble punch. I just think in terms of fit and how he's played in Portland, and especially if you go look at kind of the games that Lillard's been out when he's had to do more primary ball handling stuff, I think he would be a phenomenal fit next to BI and Zion. He can space the floor. He can play without the ball. He can play with the ball. And I think there's going to be a little bit of an impetus for Portland to look into moving him. They've got their books are pretty chock full. And they have guys too. Exactly. And they've got the young guy who's Anthony Simons, who started to play pretty well over here the last few weeks. They just have guys, I think, that could sort of fill in.
He's an interesting name.
And they're a team that came into the year with really high expectations. They went and got Covington, Nurkic. I mean, they thought they had filled that roster out to a point where they were a championship contender. I thought that they had a chance to be a championship contender. And I think they're sitting in the it seems like they're in the same spot they're always in. They're like right there in the 7-8 seed or whatever.
Yeah, like 5, 6, 7 or something like that. And like they just don't have, like, you just know, like there are only 3 teams that can come out of the Western Conference. It's going to be Utah. It's going to be both LA teams. Like,
Yeah, they're currently
and
they're
like you could
currently
say
sitting in the
Denver, but
7th spot.
nobody's going to be like like this isn't the bubble from like Denver doesn't beat the Clippers in 7 last year without the bubble. Like, I'm sorry, but if you factor in traveling and home crowds, and that plays a huge advantage in the playoffs. There's 3 teams coming out of the West. It's Utah and LA teams, and I really honestly don't see anybody beating the Lakers. Like, healthy LeBron, healthy Anthony Davis. I don't care what they look like the other night. They have 2.5 weeks to prepare. They're gonna be just fine. No, but the CJ McCollum thing is interesting because it adds shooting, it adds playmaking, and the only problem defensively, you don't really get much better. And what do you think it would take? I know me and you aren't really big trade machine guys. What do you think it would take to get someone like CJ McCollum? Like, what do
Yeah,
you?
I'd have to go look at all that. I
I mean,
think
we have picks, right? Obviously, first round picks and stuff like that.
right. And for them, it would be about removing his salary from the sheet, right? So I don't know exactly. I'd have to go kind of look at it. I mean, it would obviously be based around picks and maybe, I don't know, one of these young guys on the roster. Who do you want, right? We kind of always joke about it. You want Nall? He's yours. You like Najee? Take him. Jackson Hayes, your sort of cup of coffee. He's all your. I mean, I don't sort of care. I don't care of those guys who somebody else would be interested in. If they're interested in doing something like that, it's more of a. I don't say him to be like, oh, here's the trade that I would do. It's more of a if a guy like that or him specifically is available, that's the type of player that I think would be a really, really nice fit all the way around. And theoretically, he's the type of player that should probably be available. I mean, if Portland gets bounced in the first round, are they just going to continue? I mean, how long are they just going to continue to slam their head into a wall with this, with that core of sort of Nurkic, McCollum and Lillard? It just ain't going anywhere.
It's just not. Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up because it's one of the last points I want to bring up. I think either way, it doesn't matter what happens, they get a 10 seed or not. Griffin is going to be, I think, in my opinion, super aggressive this offseason. I think you're going to see a lot of trades. The free agency market's very bleak, and the draft is very interesting this year. I think it's a lot of talent out there. So, me and you and Steven, and this is what we do, and this is why I love that we do, is that we're brutally honest. We're going to give you our brutally honest opinion. Some of you may like it, some of you may not like it. That's fine. We'll always respect your opinion. And I think we've been tough on Griffin, but at the end of the day, Ross, I think he's done a nice job. I think Hayes has developed into a nice center. I think Naw, if he could stay healthy, he could have been a nice trade piece. He was trending up in the right direction. But, you got Brandon Ingram, you got Zion Williamson. You have pieces to build around now these next 2-3 years. It's a big deal. Now, David Griffin whiffed absolutely on the Christian Wood deal. He whiffed on, in my opinion, Stan Van Gundy hiring.
I don't. You seem like you've changed a little bit. I don't think
I've
he's done a
changed
very good job at all.
Just a little, but but here's my thing. I think year 3 says everything. I think this year he's been bad, but there's been some good in this. I also think Najee Marshall's a nice piece moving forward. But he's done bad. I called him out on bad, but I'm giving him a little bit of props here. I still think he fucked up the Stan Van Gundy deal. I still think the players do not like him at all. It is what it is. Players got to win you ball games, but Griffin's got to be super aggressive this offseason, or I think his seat gets extremely hot midway through year 3, and we're still sending out this product. That's fair, huh? It's got to be fair.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, because you get to think about it, it's the same thing we sort of always talk about, right? And it's my biggest fear is that we go into next year with a roster that looks substantially similar to this one, and we find ourselves in substantially the same spot. And now you're 3 years into Zion's 8 or 9, and you just hadn't done anything at all. Oh, and you enter the following year and you still got Adams on the books, and you still got Bledsoe. I mean, he's at that point he would be, it's partially guaranteed, but yeah, that my biggest fear is that we come into next season with basically the same starting lineup. If we come into next year with the starting lineup of Bledsoe, Lonzo, Ingram,
there's no way.
Adams,
there's no way
we're going to be in trouble.
I think
we're going to be in the same spot you're in now.
He's going to do everything in his power to get rid of Bledsoe.
I would assume. You would assume.
Gotta think Bledsoe's off the books, right?
I don't know. It all depends on what, like, if you're an opposing team, right, and you've watched this. Now, again, that last year is partially guaranteed. So, I mean, in essence, next year he's something of a an expiring, right? What would it take for an opposing GM, and what do you want in return? Like, are you expecting to, or is it just purely to get, are you doing a deal just purely to get him off the team, off the books? Or are you expecting something? Are you saying, I mean, and I'm saying you, I don't mean you. I mean, like, what is the expectation?
Right.
I think if you just want to get rid of the guy, I think there's plenty of teams that'll take him for a year and just, you basically say, hey, here's Eric Bledsoe, give me back some, meaningless late second round pick, done deal, right? We'll take on his salary for the end of the year. You guys throw us some bullshit, whatever, right? Like Alexander Walker and Bledsoe, we'll get all this. It can be done. It's at what cost, right? I mean,
Right.
What are you willing to give up to get him off of the roster?
Right. No,
First round pick, Nickeil Alexander Walker, Kyra.
Huge.
I don't know.
Not gonna Kyra.
Well, I'm just putting this out there, saying I don't know. If I'm an opposing GM and you're calling me, and I like, the guy has no value. He sucks. Nobody is gonna take. Nobody wants Eric Bledsoe. Tell me if I'm lying. Does anyone want Eric Bledsoe under the auspice that they think he makes their team better next year? Do you think there's one team in the league that you could call and convince, man, Eric Bledsoe is going to make you better next year?
I do. I think it's like, okay. Do you think when Eric Bledsoe,
and you can't say a team, like OKC or somebody like that,
because
they don't want to play guys like him.
We've talked about this before, though. Do you think if you compared Rondo to Eric Bledsoe, but Eric Bledsoe is playing for a championship contending team, do you think Rondo is that much better than Eric Bledsoe? Like that much better? I think Rondo's the better player. I think they're
surely Rondo costs much less, huh?
I mean, yeah, for sure. But like, it doesn't cost no matter when you're going for a championship.
Different type of player. I don't know. I think you can run.
But he's a bench player, just like Rondo is. Like Eric Bledsoe is good for 15, 16 minutes a game. We're giving him 32. Like we're giving him 30. Like that's the problem. I'm happy. But like we're not playing Kyra. I think someone would take him. I do. I really do. Because we talked about. I agree.
Good player. I think someone would take him, but it's got to be somebody that one can fit him. Like it's not just that's what I'm saying. It's not just. There's a cost to doing all of this.
I know.
You can't just give shit away. The other team has to be able to, like, first off, they have to want him. You've got to incentivize them to take him. And then they also have to fit him. Like, you can't just.
Who does he fit with? I don't know who he fits. Like, he doesn't fit any. Like, he's not a good defender. He's not a good scorer. I don't mean
fit in terms of the type of player. I mean, fit his salary into the books.
Oh, my bad.
I don't mean like
a good fit for, I don't know. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. It's got to be somebody that has some money and can tuck him in, be a trade exception, whatever. There's probably, I'm sure one of these teams has a trade exception, but
that's some Mason.
You get the point
for sure. He's just Griffin. Listen, I think Griffin's fucked up a lot. I also think Griffin's done some decent moves.
We'll see. I'm excited. I'm excited for the offseason. We'll see what he does. I mean, it's not a secret. Like he's going to make every call to every team and every GM and be like, hey, do you want this turd? I'll polish it as much as I can before I send it over.
I think he's really kicking himself for the Sam Van Gundy hiring. I really do.
I think so too.
I think that once Eric Bledsoe said that I wasn't listening in the huddle, that told me everything I needed to know. Once he said,
and we had heard some whispers, I mean, earlier in the year, but I don't.
It's just not a good hire. I don't know how you get off him though. It's nearly impossible. So you're stuck with Van Gundy. So I thought that was bad. Gentry was a good head coach, but he's far better and a better player, communicator, and everything than Sam Van Gundy is. But that's neither here nor there. Stanley. So tomorrow, 6:30 at ESPN, they're doing the like superhero. What are they doing? The Avatar thing? Like
I don't have the slightest clue. I don't even know what you're talking about.
I don't watch this stuff, so like someone's incorrect. I like call me like an idiot and like whatever. But they're doing something special on ESPN tomorrow because of Curry and Zion Williamson. It's supposed to be like the Nickelodeon thing they did with the Saints and Bears. But
God, that was awful. Wasn't that awful? The Nickelodeon.
But did your little kids watch it?
No, my kids are too young. It was like no. I cut it on for like 5 minutes. It was like, what the hell is going on? It was like the green stuff all over the end zone. I'm like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm actually I'm going with Kristen, my wife, tomorrow to the game. Pretty excited.
Enjoy that.
She hasn't been to a Pelicans game since the night Kobe died on my birthday in the Celtics game.
Oof,
So it's
heavy.
been a year and 4 months.
Heavy.
She cried that day. It was tough.
Heavy.
Anyways,
Let's get a dub.
Kobe, he's the GOAT. So anyways, back to huge games tomorrow, guys. Huge games, playoff games tomorrow. Follow us on Propels Talk. Follow us on Twitter, on Instagram. We're like on YouTube, bootcrewmedia.com. Shout out Boot Crew.
Can I say something?
Yes, you can. And Company Burger. Go ahead.
If you got a little cash and you hadn't been to a game yet, I suggest tickets are not that expensive. Get yourself to the game.
Seriously.
The team has done, or I guess the organization has done a good job of making it as safe and fan friendly, and it's
Yep.
You'd agree it's starting to feel, there's not obviously not as many people there, but it's starting to feel more like the old games. Get yourself a beer, hot dog, stadium food, whatever the hell you want. Everything is open. Get back in there, enjoy a game. It's been a really cool environment because you can hear more of what's going on in the court because there's not quite so many people there.
Right.
And there's clearly a difference. I mean, the players respond, to the cheering and everything else. If you can do it, there's a few games left in the year. Get yourself a ticket, try to go see a game, support the team.
Wow, you're being like optimistic
over the
I
next
can't
couple
believe
games.
this. Like that was you were positive.
I'm giving it a shot.
You got some sleep last night, didn't you?
We won a game. We won 2 in a row. If we win one tomorrow.
I'm glad you said that because they stole that shit from me too. So if you win, we won one yesterday, win one today, that's 2 in a row. If we win one tomorrow, that's called a winning streak. It has happened before. That is for our boy David Fisher. Shout us out, David. You are more than welcome to come on the podcast. By all means, I've already invited you on. We'd love to have you. We'd love to have you on. Hey, hell, fuck, come into the studio. We're on Magazine Street. Have our own studio. Have a cocktail, maybe a beer, Port Orleans beer. I don't know. Got a Port Orleans. So, David Fisher, you're more than welcome to come on the podcast. So, either way, leave us a rate and review on Apple Podcasts. The latest reviews all time, bro. God made fun of. God gave us a 1-star because we told too many inside jokes. So, I mean, if you get your own podcast, you can tell your own inside jokes. I think we have some good inside jokes.
The guy said he listens to every Pelicans
every podcast.
Every Pelicans podcast. You got nothing better to do? You got nothing better, man?
And then he left a review.
Yeah.
Like, you got the time to listen to us, and then you got the time to write a review.
Yeah.
Well, a negative review.
Glad he got that off his chest.
He's also welcome on the podcast.
Yeah. No, he's not. Fuck him. He's not.
Love all our Twitter guys, all our Instagram followers, all that stuff. So big one tomorrow, guys. Once again, thanks for tuning in, and we will see y'all tomorrow night. Later.
Is it just